The digital revolution is rapidly changing the landscape of family relationships. Every day, technology creates new bridges and barriers between generations. Parents and children speak different languages. One the language of traditional values, the other the language of instant communications and boundless information flow. Smartphones, social networks, and messengers have become not just tools, but entire worlds, incomprehensible to the older generation. A chasm of misunderstanding is growing between them, threatening to shatter the closest bonds. But is there a way out? Can this invisible, yet so palpable, digital divide be overcome? The technological gap between generations is becoming increasingly evident. Young people literally live on their smartphones, creating a parallel reality that is incomprehensible to their parents. For teenagers, gadgets are not just devices, but an entire ecosystem of communication, entertainment, and self-expression. They can spend hours chatting in messengers without uttering a single word aloud, mastering complex programs, and instantly adapting to new interfaces. The older generation perceives this reality as a threat, seeing danger and the degradation of human interaction in technology. They remember a time of live dialogue, handwritten letters, and phone calls on landlines. Every glance at a smartphone is for them a sign of alienation, an attempt to escape from the real world. Psychologists note that this conflict is not just a struggle for attention. It is a clash of fundamentally different models of information perception and communication. Young people think in clips, quickly processing vast amounts of data, while the older generation prefers a deep, sequential study of material. Technology is becoming a battlefield where each side defends its own worldview, its values, and its ideas about normal interaction. The new communicative reality of youth is taking shape in completely different coordinates than traditional communication models. Social networks, messengers, and video platforms are becoming not just channels for information transfer, but entire ecosystems of self-expression and interaction. The language of modern youth is a complex, multi-level system where text messages, emojis, memes, and short videos carry much more meaning than it might seem at first glance. Nonverbal communication reaches a fundamentally new level. Young people have learned to read emotional states through likes, reposts, and screenshots, forming a unique digital dialect. Every emoticon, every GIF animation becomes a micro-study of human relationships, where 1,000 symbols can express more than an hour-long conversation. The digital environment radically transforms communicative skills. If previously the ability to listen and maintain a conversation was a key social competence, now the speed of information perception, the ability to instantly filter content, and the construction of multitasking communicative strategies come to the forefront. Young people live in a mode of constant information flow, where pauses between messages are measured in fractions of a second. Parental control in the digital age transforms into a complex psychological labyrinth where fear and love intricately intertwine. Behind every prohibition, every attempt to restrict access to gadgets, lies a deep emotional message: to protect, to safeguard, to preserve. But the paradox of the modern world is that the more parents try to control, the faster children find ways to circumvent these restrictions. Psychologists call this phenomenon digital resistance. The younger generation perceives total control as an encroachment on personal space, as an attempt to deprive them of independence. Every parental monitoring becomes a challenge to which the teenager is ready to respond with ingenuity and secrecy. But behind this confrontation lie perfectly understandable human emotions. On the one hand, the fear of losing a child in the boundless ocean of information. On the other, the thirst for independence and self-determination. Destructive models of control are based on total distrust, strict prohibitions, and constant surveillance. Constructive ones are based on dialogue, mutual respect, and joint exploration of the digital world. Parents who turn technological supervision into a collaborative exploration find many more common grounds with their children. The balance between protection and freedom is a delicate art that requires extreme attention and emotional intelligence from parents. Information security does not mean total control, but rather implies creating an atmosphere of trust where the child becomes the subject of their own digital security. Modern parents must learn to be not overseers, but partners, capable of exploring the complex world of digital communications together. The key principle is not to block, but to explain, not to forbid, but to guide. Every prohibition should be accompanied by a detailed dialogue about potential risks and ways to avoid them. It is important to teach the child critical thinking, to recognize manipulation and dangerous contexts. Effective parental oversight is built on 3 pillars: openness, honesty, and mutual respect. Technologies change rapidly, but basic human values remain constant. Trust is the true shield that will protect a child in any information space. Digital literacy is not just the ability to use gadgets. It's an entire philosophy of interacting with the modern world. Today, parents need to become true explorers of the technological universe, where their children feel like true residents. Educational programs for the older generation are transforming into unique bridges of understanding. Digital literacy courses are not just technical instructions, but full-fledged training sessions on deciphering a new language of communication. Universities of the third age, youth centers, and online academies offer special programs where people over 40 can learn not only how to use a smartphone, but also understand the logic of digital thinking. The key principle of such programs is not just learning, but collaborative exploration. Parents, together with their children, explore new applications, delve into the intricacies of social networks, and exchange experiences. This transforms into a fascinating journey where everyone becomes both a teacher and a student simultaneously. Digital literacy is not only technical skills, but also the ability to adapt, be open to new things, and maintain critical thinking in the flow of information. Emotional intelligence is becoming a key survival skill in the digital age. The ability to hear and understand each other is a true art that requires colossal internal resources. Parents and children often find themselves on opposite sides of an invisible barricade, where everyone speaks their own language, but no one hears the other. Empathy turns into a rare gift, capable of breaking down communicative barriers. Psychologists argue that the development of emotional intelligence is not just a skill, but an entire strategy for family survival. Learning to read nonverbal cues, catching the subtlest emotional nuances, being ready for dialogue without judgment. This is what distinguishes truly close people. A modern family is not a hierarchical structure with rigid rules, but a flexible ecosystem of mutual learning and support. Every conflict can become a point of growth, every misunderstanding an opportunity for deeper contact. Emotional intelligence allows turning technological barriers into bridges of understanding, where digital devices become not a means of disunity, but tools for rapprochement. Subcultures in the digital age are transforming into complex, multi-layered ecosystems of self-identification, where young people find not just ways to pass the time, but entire worlds for self-expression. Each online community is a microcosm, with its own rules, language, and informal hierarchy. Gamers, cosplayers, anime fans, programmers, esports athletes. Behind each of these communities lies a deep need for belonging and recognition. Parents often see only a superficial picture, a teenager engrossed in their smartphone. But behind this lies a whole world of creativity, mutual support, and personal development. For the younger generation, these subcultures are not just entertainment, but a way to construct their own identity, a platform for experimenting with themselves. Every meme, every video, every comment, these are the building blocks of self-creation that parents often fail to see beyond the external fuss and clip-like nature. It's important to understand, behind every virtual avatar stands a living person with a need to be heard, accepted, and understood. Cyberspace is not just a set of technologies, but an entire labyrinth of potential threats that a teenager must navigate as safely as possible. Every click, every message can be the beginning of a dangerous trajectory. The risks of the digital environment are manifold and sophisticated, from cyberbullying to manipulative schemes for involvement in destructive communities. Psychologists note that the younger generation is most vulnerable to information attacks, precisely because of their undeveloped system of psychological defense. Teenagers are emotionally open, highly suggestible, and often unable to critically evaluate the information they receive. Social networks become an ideal space for manipulation. Strangers easily penetrate trusted spaces, disguised as peers or authoritative figures. Group chats, anonymous forums, dubious public pages. Each of these channels can become an entry point into a high-risk zone. Parents should become not controllers, but allies, capable of jointly exploring potential dangers and developing defense strategies. Joint risk analysis, open dialogue, and continuous information education. These are the key tools for preventing cyber threats. Family communication in the digital age is a complex, multi-layered dialogue where each participant speaks their own language. Psychological models of parent-child interaction transform into a true art of balancing control and freedom, understanding and acceptance. The key to successful communication is creating an environment of mutual respect and openness. Effective strategies for family interaction are built on three main principles: trust, collaborative exploration, and emotional intelligence. Parents who become partners, not overseers, gain far more opportunities for genuine contact with their child. It's important not just to listen, but to hear. Not to control, but to support. Psychological case studies show successful families create a special communicative atmosphere where technologies become not a barrier, but a bridge. Joint exploration of the digital world, sharing experiences, a willingness to learn from each other. This is what transforms potential conflict into a space for development and mutual understanding. Every family is unique, but there are universal principles for building dialogue. Openness, empathy, absence of judgment, a willingness to admit one's own mistakes. These qualities become the foundation for overcoming any communicative barriers. Technologies change, but human values remain immutable. The transformation of values is not merely a change in generational attitudes, it is a complex, psychological process of redefining fundamental life coordinates. Each new generation does not simply differ from the previous one, it forms a fundamentally different system of coordinates, where technologies become not just tools, but an environment. The youth of the 21st century is the first generation to be born into a totally digital world, where the internet is not an exotic novelty, but a natural reality. Their values are not formed within the linear logic of the industrial era, but in a multidimensional information space, where the boundaries between the real and the virtual are blurred. They think not in terms of stability and accumulation, but of flexibility, adaptability, and continuous development. Success for them is not a diploma and a stable job, but the ability to quickly adapt, create their own projects, and monetize unique skills. Traditional institutions of family, education, and career are undergoing a radical reboot. If before the path of life resembled a straight line, school, university, work, family, now it is a complex trajectory with many branches, experiments, and unexpected turns. Education in the digital age is transforming into a dynamic, multi-layered system where traditional institutions are giving way to flexible, personalized learning models. Technology is radically transforming not only the methods of knowledge transfer, but also the very philosophy of the educational process. Online courses, educational platforms, interactive simulators are becoming not an additional tool, but the primary learning environment. The younger generation perceives knowledge not as a linear process of information assimilation, but as a continuous exploration, where everyone can choose their own development trajectory. Parents become key navigators in this complex educational landscape, helping children not only to acquire information, but also to critically comprehend it. Their task is not to control, but to support natural curiosity, to create a space for independent choice and experimentation. Technology is turning education into an exciting journey, where every child can become an explorer, creator, and author of their own educational strategy. Psychological adaptation to the digital world is becoming a key survival skill for every individual. Stress and uncertainty are constant companions in an era of total technological transformations. The family turns into the main protective mechanism, capable of softening the harsh blows of unpredictable reality. Each family member becomes a unique, adaptive resource for others. Parents learn to be flexible, children resilient, and a complex system of mutual support is built between them. Psychologists call this a new type of family resilience, the ability not just to resist changes, but to transform along with them. Technological chaos ceases to be a threat and becomes a source of joint development. Every stressful moment turns into an opportunity for a deeper understanding of each other, where dialogue is more important than technical barriers. Adaptation is not a struggle, but the art of accepting new rules of the game, where human relationships remain the main capital. The future of family relationships is not just a prediction, but a complex algorithm of interaction, where each participant becomes a programmer of their own communication strategies. Technology ceases to be an external tool and transforms into an organic part of human relationships. The family of the future is not a hierarchical structure, but a flexible, adaptive ecosystem where everyone can be both a teacher and a student simultaneously. Digital communications erase strict age boundaries, creating a space for mutual development. Parents cease to be the sole sources of knowledge, and children, passive recipients of information. They become equal researchers, capable of jointly constructing new models of interaction. Artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and neural interfaces transform into tools for rapprochement, not disunion. Technologies become the language through which different generations learn to hear each other. Every gadget, every application, can become a bridge of understanding, where empathy is more important than technical capabilities. Family communications of the future are not a struggle for control, but a joint creation, where personal boundaries are respected and individuality is valued higher than conformity. Technological progress ceases to be a threat and becomes a space for dialogue, where human relationships remain the main operating system. Bridges instead of barriers. This is the key principle for overcoming the digital divide between generations. Technologies should not separate, they are meant to unite. Every family can transform a potential conflict into a space for mutual development and understanding. The main thing is not to resist changes, but to embrace them as an opportunity for dialogue. Parents and children are not rivals in a struggle for power and control, but allies in exploring the complex, multi-layered world of modern communications. Empathy, openness, and a willingness to learn from each other become fundamental principles of family relationships in the digital age. Technologies are merely a tool, while human values remain the main operating system. Love, trust, respect, and support. Every conflict is not a dead end, but a growth point. Every misunderstanding is an opportunity for deeper contact. The future of family relationships belongs to those who can hear each other above the noise of information flows, who see living people with their dreams, fears, and hopes behind digital screens.